Hey, what's up? It's time for Blue Box. This is episode 20. Now that we've hit episode 20, it's kind of hitting me that eventually this show will end, or at least the season will end. And that time is coming soon. I mean, is this a 24 or 25 episode show? I can probably find out in a second. Excuse me. Sorry. 25 episodes. So 5 more after this. Now, I'm really excited, but also, like, you know, it's gonna be sad when I'm finishing the season because 20 episodes in, that's quite a lot of episodes of this show. And it still feels like we're early days. Because we are, kind of, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of, like, how far the manga goes, and it's pretty significant, so yeah, I mean, I imagine this show, it feels popular enough to warrant a season 2 at the very least, and I feel like season 2 would be great when it comes out because I think I know some stuff that would happen in it, and it would be awesome. So anyway, season 1, we're coming towards the end of it. Things are heating up. We have the I think we ended with the play that they were like, oh, the prince is sick or something, you know, like had to go to the hospital or something. So now we don't have a prince. Oh no. So let's see what happens. Let's jump into this episode. This is Blue Box episode 20. Make sure to support the video, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and go to my Patreon account for full-length early access and exclusive videos. Here we go, Blue Box episode 20. Oh, you're gonna show the bit where we didn't get to hear what she said again? Okay, so it was just showing that he was riding the highs of her saying yeah. Oh, he tried to escape. You have to do it. Funny that Heen is not one of the ones pressuring him. I mean, you're within your rights to say no. You can just say, I'm not doing that. I didn't sign up for that, and you can't pressure me into doing it on the day. Where'd he go? Fuck you, Kyo. I mean, that's great, but you do it, girl. Oh, you can't let Heat down. I mean, she's worked exceptionally hard on it. Trying to figure out exactly how to say every line and every expression. Well said. Aww. Cute. As one of her closest friends. Yeah, this is quite the place to jump in. I'll just start singing. Kisu. I could read that much. It didn't subtitle it, but I saw the Kisu. I'm gonna be watching the whole time while you kiss the other girl. I mean, yeah, text her. Yeah, you don't have to tell her not to come. Just say, hey, guess what? The prince dropped out. I mean, surely the pamphlets would say that it was a girl playing. If they had pamphlets. Maybe they don't have pamphlets. That might be too much work. It's you, Karen. There you go. Chinatsu. Yep. She just found out. Now they want to mock him for it. She got texted. Is it so strange that they're talking to each other? Aww, cute sticker.
本番も何が起こるかわからないけど、楽しんで乗り越えよう。ファイトー。
They're having to whisper backstage. Oh, this is giving me flashbacks to my school musicals.
そういうことを考えるな俺。
背筋伸ばさん。
She always does that.
ちょっと緊張しすぎなんじゃない？諦めが悪いぞ。
Because you're cute. That's why he's nervous.
私をどなたと心得る？蝶のひな様ぞ。
I mean, she had so much practice and he didn't get any practice, so he has a right to be very nervous.
緊張はしてるよ。今は親友として全力で力を貸してよ。
Aww.
中二の運動会より恥ずかしいことないから。
Oh.
にしてもひどかった。
Wow. She's bringing up something that embarrassed him years ago.
完璧だったでしょ。
あの二人って付き合ってんのかなって。
Nope.
昔からな。
異性の友達と恋人の違いって何なんだろうな。
There's a pretty significant difference. But if you're close enough with your friend, I get what he's saying. If you're close enough with your friend, it can feel similar to romantic love. But that can be the same, honestly, with someone of the same sex. Oh, look at that expression. She's a good actress. And he's terrible.
わかりやすく緊張してんな。
頑張ってるのは伝わってくるわね。
Aww. Chinatsu's expression. Is he wrong? Oh, okay. Kyo complained. That's, I mean, a decent revision, I guess. It's kind of a weird story.
そういう長年の思いが美化されるのって少し重いっていうか。
Oh my gosh. I just realized who this is. Like, oh, Ayame. I've read the manga, so I know who Ayame is, and I love her. Okay, so far so good. Huh. It's not about the audience, it's about Taiki. Yeah. I always like actors doing bad acting, you know? They have to play a character who's a bad actor. That's a good way to hide the kiss. And then you have to whisper in her ear, I did it! You can wake up now, because she wouldn't feel a kiss. But she'd probably feel you very close to her face. It's a good expression. That's really funny. And having Haryu as the, like, straight man is very funny. Oh, shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, oh. Hooray! Oh my god. They're covering it with confetti, but I think those lips touched. Okay, guys, this isn't the time. Yeah, worry about their well-being. They could have been seriously hurt. Oh, Chinatsu. And Karen, like, picking up on it. Look, if they did kiss, everyone saw how it happened. He's saying that with Hina, like, right behind him.
二人付き合ってるんじゃないかって。
Guys, you can't just...
と王子様だしな。
You shouldn't just be bringing this up in front of both of them.
ケーキの息も合ってたし。
It's embarrassing for them. It's unfair.
茶化すようにそういう話されるの
Hmm.
嫌だからやめてほしい。
That's respectable. That's a very respectable response, I think. You're allowed to say that to someone who's saying stuff like that.
ごめん。変な
Oh, Hina, it's not your fault. You're
ひなは悪くない
precious, yeah.
堂々としてたし、声も出てたし、
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it works as a performance.
それに
And your lips were so warm.
この私に見劣りして
褒美に課題やってもらおうかな。
罰だらけでいいなら
Yeah. Yeah, don't get Hina to do your homework.
キスしてないって千夏先輩に説明するから言ってね。バリ嫌でしょ、こんな勘違いされるの。
She's so
大
sweet.
輝あんなに怒ってフェアな戦いしたいから。
いや、あれは
Oh, that expression.
ここじゃないん。口打ち上げしようぜ。いろいろ疲れたろ。
Thank you, Kyo. You're a good friend. Yum!
みんなキスキスキスキスって劇のこと思い出して千夏先輩についてだって思ってるし。違うのかよ。
He's probably embarrassed about that.
実際何か言われてるのは俺とひなだろ。
Oh, he's also protective of Hina.
それを他人に何か言われるのがすごく嫌で。
Yeah.
生野さんのこと恋愛的に好きになってはいないの？
I don't think so, man.
そうなっても無理ないと思うけど。
I mean, at the very least, she's cute as hell.
俺はそれもあり得ることだと思うし。
I mean, yeah, sometimes love can be confusing.
可能性の話だから。
ご来場ありがとう。
Oh, look at that smile.
女性だった。なら俺にもまだ。
That's really funny. There was Ayame back there.
ただいまをもちまして第53
Cool, I like her coloring in this anime.
3割のミルク。
100% coffee plus 30% milk.
うまい。
Okay, well, if it works in coffee.
いや、そうじゃない。俺は千夏先輩のこと好きって。なんで家に
Eating?
おじいちゃんの手術が無事終わ
Oh yeah, I forgot she had moved out, but now she's back
休ま
in.
せてもらうから荷物を運びに。
Aww.
いや、そろそろ千夏先輩も見てたんだよな。
Wanna talk about it? Does she wanna talk about it?
思ったんだろう。
Okay. Wallace and Gromit. Okay, great episode again, really good stuff. Now I'm going to I think this discussion is mostly going to be just adjacent to the story of the episode rather than actually discussing too much about the story of the episode, because honestly it's kind of starting to dip into stuff that I really remember about the manga, and I don't want to spoil anything because I know some people will be watching this you know, not having read the manga but being watching the anime as it comes out, and the last thing I want to do is make anyone's experience lesser by implying things that are going to happen or hinting at things or saying like, oh, you should watch out for this stuff, because I don't like when people do that. So you know, the more that I remember about it, the less that I'm going to talk about the actual plot of the episode. But I will say Ayame, it's cool that she's in this show now. They've been showing her like on, I mean, she's in the OP, I think, and they've been showing her in the in like posters and key visuals and stuff, like building up to her coming into the show. I like her character, so I'm curious to see more of her in the anime. But what I'm gonna talk about instead is, because like luckily this episode, even though I'm not gonna talk much about the plot of the episode, it overlaps with something that I can talk about, which is the idea of like stage performances and stuff. If you don't know, I did a lot of acting training in my life throughout all of like high school essentially. So for about 6 or 7 years, during high school, I was doing acting classes, and then after I left high school, I continued to do acting classes. And those acting classes, by the way, they weren't in school. It was like outside of school acting classes, like professional, full-on acting classes. And then once I left, I did more acting classes. I got represented by an agent. I did a bunch of short films and plays and a bunch of other stuff, right? So I've got some experience in acting. And I've done a decent amount of stage shows. Most of them, like the stage shows that I've done, is a combination of I did school musicals in which most of the time I was a lead. I did some drama plays for my acting school. So we would normally do a performance at the end of every term and then a big performance at the end of the year. So you could like really, so you'd actually be doing it properly on a stage then and stuff. And so I did those things. I did some plays outside of school, like just some actual on-stage plays for something called The Fringe in Adelaide. So The Fringe is basically, there's a bunch of, it's just basically like a time where you do there's a lot of theater shows and a bunch of other stuff happening in Adelaide, the city that I live in. And so like, that's a good time to go see like amateur theater a lot of the time and a bunch of other stuff. But, so I've been in some Fringe plays as well. I was in one written by a friend of mine called Tinder Surprise, and, that show, it was so much fun. And then I was in another one called Septum. And that one I was sort of brought in, not last minute, but like later than everyone else. And that was really interesting. The Septum was an interesting play because I think it's an actual play. I don't think it's like one that was written by anyone I know. I think it was like an actual play that we were putting on that was based on an actual professional script. But that is a play. The interesting thing about that play is there's a timer at the top of the stage, and it says it has 30 minutes, and it counts down from 30 minutes, and the play is timed to that timer. And so when the timer runs out, the play like reaches its climax, like as soon as it hits 0. And like, I don't know how the fuck we did that. Like I was part of it. I was in the play, and I don't remember how we got away with that. I think it was just we practiced a lot, so we were kind of down with the timing. But then like towards the end, if we were getting close and we still had a lot of lines, we could like skip lines or do other things or whatever, right? There were ways that you could cheat it. But in that play, I was playing a wheelchair-bound man, so I also got to just sit in a wheelchair the entire play as well. I didn't have to stand up or walk around. I barely had to learn blocking because I was just in a wheelchair, just rolling along. So, yeah. Anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about. What I was going to talk about is in school musicals, because there's two things that related to this episode that I wanted to talk about. The first is being a fill-in, right? Because Taiki had to fill in at the last minute for a part that wasn't his or whatever, right? I've had to do this. I actually had to do this. It wasn't for a big role, and I wasn't in school anymore, but it was for a school musical. I was an adult of maybe 2 or 3 years out of high school. And since I was the lead role in a bunch of musicals, the teacher knew me like quite well, because like the teacher who directed all the school musicals and stuff, he knew me quite well. Because obviously I was his lead star. And I got along with him well as well. He was a pretty funny guy. I got to be kind of silly with him, and he was completely fine with me being silly because I was doing the work, a lot of teachers, I think, tended to like me in school because I simultaneously fucked around, but also actually followed rules and listened and did things that they wanted me to do. And I was a fun combination of that, where it's like, I wasn't so much of a goody two-shoes that they just thought I was lame. But also, if they said to do something, I would do it. So yeah, he liked me quite a bit. And at some point, I got a phone call. I'm an adult at this point, remember? I get a phone call from him And I'm like, hello. And he's like, hi, it's... I shouldn't say his actual name. Mr. Blue Box. Hi, it's Mr. Blue Box here. And I went, oh my gosh, Mr. Blue Box. What's up? How you going? And he's like, hey, I'm going great, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, there's a student who dropped out of the musical. And it's on in a week. And he had a part that had speaking lines and stuff. I don't think we can get any of the students to do it. Would you be able to come in and do that part? And I went, okay. Yeah, I guess so. And it was very surreal. I forget that I did this very often because it was just like, it was like 3 days out of my life. And it was a very strange, it was strange because I went back to this school and it was like a bunch of students. Obviously I didn't know any of them, but it was my school and I knew the teachers and I talked to them and he gave me the script. And it's like, it was maybe like, I don't know, 10 or so lines. It wasn't much, right? I think they were kind of lengthy lines, but it was like nothing I can't handle. I would have to, for a lot of auditions and for acting class and stuff, they would sometimes give you like a paragraph like that's that big, and they would give it to you and go like, here, you have like 20 minutes, go over there and learn that paragraph and come back and do the audition. And you had to do it. And so learning lines was something I was pretty good at. I haven't done it in so long that I worry that I've lost that skill, but I don't think so. I bet I could pick it back up if I needed to. So yeah, anyway, I looked at the script, I went, okay, this is doable, and luckily there's not much blocking or whatever, but I only had one single rehearsal, and then I was on stage. And it's like, that is stressful, because it's like, they've all put in so much work, they've been working on it. At that point, they would have been working on it for a whole semester, which is, 20 weeks. And I got 1 day of prep. So yeah, that was kind of stressful. But it worked. It's fine. Generally, it doesn't matter. Especially like a school musical, a school play, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like, I went to see some of the school musicals after I had left school. I went to see some ones because they sometimes would put on the same musical that we did. They would put it on again many years later, and so we would be like, okay, well, let's go back and watch that musical, because it's like, we put this on and we were playing these parts, and now we get to see other kids doing it, and it'll be very interesting. You go to see those plays, and here's what you realize: all that really matters is, does the person playing the role project their voice? That's really all that matters in a school play. If it's a professional play, of course, there's so much that actually matters to it. Facial expressions, not just projecting your voice, but also finding the right tone that the audience can all hear you, and also it sounds appropriate. So if you're supposed to be quiet, you have to do a really good stage whisper that also sounds convincing. And then facing the audience in right ways, but doing it naturally, and your movement and your casualness and your use of props and your delivery of every single line and the way that it flows with other people's lines, and there's so much stuff. But when you're a kid and you're doing school play, really, it's just, can we hear the line? That's kind of it. Can we hear and understand the line? And so while I was watching the play, I'm like, oh, that kid's good. And what I really meant was, I can hear everything that kid is saying. And they're taking a pause at the right time. And that's it. That's all I needed to be impressed. So yeah, seeing this, Taiki filling in, even though he's being kind of stiff, whatever, and he's yelling the lines, that people understood it perfectly, and it lets Hina shine a little bit. If he's a little bit cardboard, it doesn't matter, because she's going to be shining a little bit and just bounce off of him. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the on-stage kiss. So I can branch off in two directions here. One, I've done an on-screen kiss before. Not an on-stage kiss, but an on-screen kiss. I don't think I've done an on-stage kiss. No, I haven't. But I've done an on-screen kiss before. And like not much to report there. It's not as interesting as you'd think it was. It was honestly just like I can tell you, while I was in the middle of kissing, and by the way, it's not a faked kiss. It's not like a you know, like confetti in front of their mouth or whatever, like putting the cape over. It wasn't that. It was like straight up, we're just making out on camera, right? And I did it with a girl that I had never met before, and I never saw again from that day onwards. And we barely talked as well when we were on the set. Like, I don't think she was a bad person in any way. I don't think there was anything wrong with her. But she wasn't very talkative, and I also was very awkward. So it's fine. But anyway, did an on-screen kiss. I'll tell you right now, while I'm doing the on-screen kiss, all I was thinking about is, does this look right on camera? Am I facing the camera properly? Or do I remember my line after that? How long do I do this for? 1, 2, 3. Okay, pull back now. You know, like, it was stuff like that. It was logistic stuff. It was the farthest thing from romantic that you could possibly have. Even though we're like trying to make it look romantic, it was so not romantic. It was like, whenever you see like actors talk about like, oh, well, you know, doing on-screen kisses, it's like, it's just business and stuff. It really fucking is. Like, I was doing it as an amateur, you know, I was doing it as an amateur in a short film, a student film. And it's so not romantic. I mean, I think I've also done an on-screen kiss technically, but I was like, for a short film that I made, but that was with my girlfriend at the time. So that wasn't, I didn't really count that because that's just me kissing my girlfriend. So that one was romantic, but that was my actual girlfriend. And so I like sort of allowed it to be romantic. But yeah, anyway. So, but that wasn't the story I wanted to tell. The story I wanted to tell was, we were doing a school musical, and I'm not going to name this person. I wouldn't want him to be embarrassed. I hope, you know, that it doesn't embarrass him telling this story, because he's a good guy, and I like him very much. It's just a funny story that relates a lot to it. And I don't think he'd be too bothered by it, knowing him. Like, I think he'd kind of just laugh it off. But when we were doing the musical, there's a bit in the musical where he has to kiss someone else. But it was a high school musical, so the teachers didn't actually expect us to kiss. The idea is he's just supposed to, like, I think the idea was he's just supposed to lean in and pretend to kiss or whatever. He just like leans in and goes, or like, I remember, I don't know if this ended up actually happening, but I remember a girl talking about like, you put your thumbs over her lips like that and you kiss your thumbs. So you just like lean, it feels weird. Like, I'm going to kiss you, but you put your thumbs over her lips as you lean in, kiss your thumbs, and then you haven't made any contact with her, right? It's funny, like, thinking about it now, it feels like, to me, as an adult, I would be like, why don't we just touch lips? It's like, it's really not that big a deal, honestly. It's only a big deal if we make it a big deal, or if either of us are not consenting to that, of course. If she was like, I don't think I'm comfortable with that, then of course you find other ways. But like, I think as an adult, you'd just be like, can we just peck on stage? Just, and I'm sure, you know, an actress would probably be like, yeah, of course. So he was supposed to do that, something along those lines. It was either kiss her on the cheek, or kiss beside her cheek, or kiss in the air, or kiss his thumbs. Anyway, you heard me say supposed to. One of the nights, the middle night, this was the night that was recorded. We always had one night that was recorded. It was on the camera. And he leaned in. I don't know what happened, but apparently he actually just kind of straight up kissed her. Not on purpose. Definitely not on purpose. I think he was just trying to miss her, and he kissed her. Which is like a very romantic comedy thing to happen, but that's what happened. And here's the thing. He did that. I don't think she cared. I've told the story 100 times, I think. I've never thought about how she felt about it. But I think from memory, she did not care in the slightest. It was just like not even on her radar. She might have not even noticed that it was an actual kiss. Because it was such a peck, you know. But he went off stage, and then he went backstage, and he went to one of his friends, and went, "Holy shit! I think I actually kissed her," to us. Or I don't think I was there, but I was getting ready for another scene. But he said it to one of his other friends. His microphone was still on, and they forgot to turn it off. So throughout the whole audience, he kisses, goes off stage, and then in the speakers, "Holy shit, I think I actually kissed her." And there was a laugh among the audience, right? And we all heard it, and the people who didn't hear it were told about it later. Poor guy, like it's a very sad, unfortunate thing to happen, because it was actually the fault of the sound people, who were supposed to have turned his mic off already, definitely. But they didn't, and then we all eagerly awaited that DVD of the footage of the musical, because we knew the one night it was filmed that it happened, and guess what? They cut it out of the final edit. I think they muted the sound or whatever at that time. Man, when we were doing the screening and the sound muted or whatever, it was so disappointing. It was like, damn it, we really wanted to see that moment. But it's probably fair enough for him. Don't have that on footage for everyone to have for the rest of time. It makes sense. It was just sad for us. But he was a very close friend of mine, and I've seen him probably last time I saw him was a year and a half ago or something. And he and I, every time we see each other, we get along super well, and we're great friends. I love that man. But I didn't say who he was because I don't want to embarrass him further. I just want to tell the story, but not actually embarrass him. And hopefully he never sees this and doesn't have to bring up that memory again. Anyway, that is Blue Box episode 20. Thank you for joining me. I know this was a long discussion about not Blue Box, but I'm sure you understand. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.